Good morning, everyone. Monday, July the 6th, the Made in Paradise podcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we're talking about coincidence. And I want to tell you a short story about when I used to travel almost 1 million miles a year in the air. For 10 years, we did 16 trade shows a year. It was a grueling schedule, and I was at most of them, and I was always flying. And that time I had a personal assistant, and it's a person that Anthony will remember because he was working for me at that time. And she used to be the personal assistant of Nicolas Cage. And so all the time she would talk about him in a negative way, right? He did this and he did this and he did this and he did this. And I'm not a harbor for a gossip ship, but I would just hear it all the time. And so I was on a leg, I believe in Las Vegas or Los Angeles. I can't remember where, but I had this habit. I was always sitting in first class. So I would go to a bar that was not very far from the gate, and I would sit at the bar and drink and talk to people and enjoy myself until the absolute last minute. Because when you have a first class ticket, they'll let you on the plane first, but then you have to sit there and wait while everybody passes by you. And what I preferred to do was just let everybody get on the plane, and they would say, last call. And then I would get up and just walk and just go in the plane and just sit down in my seat. So one day I had been doing that, and we had been at a show, and I was in this bar, and there was people from the show there, and we were having a great time and whatever else. And I'd had about 4 Long Islands, and so I was in a really, really good mood. And all of a sudden, here it comes. Last call, da-da-da-da-da. Oh, gotta go. And so I get my stuff, and I go to the gate, and I get there, and I'm obviously the last guy. And, sometimes they give you the evil eye because they know what you're doing, right? They know you're just waiting. So they give me the evil eye. And I'm in the back row on the right. So like, what is that, D and F or whatever, the back row of first class on the right. And I get back there, there's a guy all in black. He's sitting in the aisle and my seat's in the window. And I put my thing up. I said, excuse me, sir. And I just kind of stepped around him, and he said, no problem. And when he said no problem like that, I mean, it's Nicolas Cage, and his voice is completely and utterly, you can't mistake it, right? And so I sit down and I'm happy. I'm like, wow. I said, wow, sir. Just like this. I said, wow, sir. Very good to meet you. Very good to meet you. Nice to be flying with you. I said, I had no idea. I thought somebody your stature would be flying private. And when I said that one, I said, I thought someone of your stature should be flying private. He took his hands and he slammed them down on the arm of the seat, and he jumped up like this, straight up, and he turned around and he walked towards the back of the airplane. Now, remember, I'm a little tipsy, right? And so I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? And this older black stewardess comes down the aisle, right? And she puts her hand right there. I said, babe, I'm so sorry. I just barely spoke to Mr. Cage. And then he got so upset and he just stormed off to the back of the plane. And she said, oh, honey, she said, you ain't got no idea what we done had problems before you got here. So they end up having to clear a whole back row in the plane so he can sit by himself because he didn't want anyone to talk to him. Now, what I didn't realize is that this particular time, he was having a whole bunch of IRS trouble. So the IRS was up his ass with a microscope trying to get his money or whatever. And the reason he wasn't flying private is because he didn't have the money to fly private. And so when I said that to him, not knowing, I made him angry. But as our subject today is coincidence, right? I want to say to you, was that a coincidence or was that providence? Darren Fingleton, what do you think?
If it was coincidence or providence?
Yeah. In other words, was that an arranged meeting that happened because of my continual hearing about Nicolas Cage and Nicolas Cage and Nicolas Cage? Or absolutely just a coincidence? Because you got to admit, there's not many people in the world have a personal assistant who used to work for Nicolas Cage.
Right.
Right?
I don't know. I mean, I've said some stuff and I've heard some stuff about other actors, and I have yet to. Okay. I've flown many times.
Okay, so you're saying just coincidence, right?
I think
you're
so.
Saying
yeah.
That's just coincidence.
Yeah,
okay, so with that being, what do you think, Andy? You think that's coincidence, or you think that's prearranged? It's providence. The universe setting up a meeting. What do you think?
I would stay with coincidence. Let me stay
with coincidence. Okay. All right. So here's another story. Here's another story then, also about flying. I was reading a book by an author named Pam Grout, and she wrote 2 books. One's called E Squared and one's called E Cubed. And it's about how our thoughts create our reality. And there's all these experiments in there about that. And so I was living in California at the time, also during this time period when I was doing all the travel. And I had an apartment in Emeryville, California, which is where next to Berkeley, where the grocery outlet headquarters was. And I had that apartment there because I was doing so much business with Grocery Outlet. And I was reading those books at the time. And she was saying, you should try these experiments. You should try these experiments, whatever. I was single and I thought, one of the things, let's prove if this is real. I would like to meet a famous actress, and I took a picture of this actress and I put that photograph on a shelf by the door so that when I came in the door or left every day, that photo was there and I looked at it. Many months went by. Let's say it was 4, 5, or 6 months. I'm not really sure, but many months went by and I found myself on a first class flight. I was sitting in the bulkhead. So this time I'm in row A, again in the window, and the meal that day was lasagna, and the lasagna that they serve comes in a ceramic bowl about this big, right? About this big around. And of course they serve it piping hot. Now, this is an important part of the story, although it seems unrelated. I had just bought myself, for the first time and only time in my life, a pair of blue jeans that cost $300. And someone had recommended them to me, said, you're wearing blue jeans all the time. These are the most comfortable, whatever. And I had gone to Nordstrom's and I had bought these blue jeans, and I'm sitting in first class and the lady sitting next to me complimented me on my blue jeans. And so we were talking about the blue jeans, and the steward comes over and he said, "You both had lasagna, right?" I said, yes, we both had lasagna. And so he's got these tongs and it's really piping hot. And he takes that ceramic dish and he sets it down, one of them on my neighbor's tray table. And then he grabs mine, and as he comes across my neighbor to set it on my tray table, it slips out of the grip of his tongs. It's lasagna now, and it's in a hot dish this big around. It slips out of the tongs, and it lands on my brand new blue jeans, face down on my right leg. And my reaction, the lady, when it drops, she screams, "Ah!" The steward goes, "Ah!" And it flops onto my pants. I reach down and grab it hot, and I flip it back onto the armrest between the two of us there in that first class row. And as I looked down at my pants, there was not one drop of tomato sauce on my pants. It was actually had never touched my pants. And so the lady sitting next to me and the steward are amazed. And they say, "How can it not be on your pants?" And in that moment, when everyone is amazed, from the row behind me comes a head. And it's a famous actress. And she says, "Oh my God, are you okay?" Halle Berry, the same photo that I had inside the doorway of my apartment that I had there for several months, and I wanted to meet her. I met Halle Berry, had a conversation with her. She was sitting behind me with her assistant. I had never noticed her there when I got on the plane, probably because of a couple of Long Islands. And there she was. So now I've given you two stories of meeting two people. Now, you want to tell me that those are both absolutely coincidence. Is that right, Anthony Ferguson? You still think that those are coincidence and not arranged meetings? So you're going to tell me now that we're not living in the echo of our previous thoughts. 100% coincidence. Anthony Ferguson, take the floor.
That means to say, could a coincidence be a subconscious choice we have made, right? So you constantly saw the picture, the image in your door. Every time you go out, come in, so you reprogram your mind to have that experience. So
there is no coincidence there.
So there is no. That's right.
So you're telling me you don't believe in coincidence?
It's a hard thing to say now, right? Because I mean, there's so many things going around happening daily that you could say, oh, that was just coincidence or no. So in your scenario, definitely it wasn't coincidence, right?
Well, I don't know. You got other people are going to listen to this and they're going to say, those guys are crazy. That's obviously just coincidence. It happened twice. But if I thought about it, I could probably go back through my life and give you another dozen examples of things like that happened where it seemed like a coincidence, but yet when you look at all the probabilities, you say, maybe that's providence. Darren, what do you think?
It's so hard to say because it's you never really know. I mean, I've had so many thoughts and wanted to meet so many people, and here, I've never had such an encounter. So when someone else has that experience, you think, well, I guess that has to be coincidence, or maybe. I mean, it's hard to say. Well, they're destined by fate to meet that person.
Okay, well, and I've met hundreds of celebrities by going to sci-fi conventions or by going to other conventions or other events. I've met a lot of celebrities, but that's very intentional on my part, right? I'm going to that convention and there's 4 people from Star Trek who are going to be there. That's completely different than showing up on a plane and sitting down next to someone who I can point back and say, well, there was real thought behind this, what happened here, right? There was real thought about this person before all of this transpired.
Right.
So I guess we lost Anthony. For his internet. We'll just keep going. Tell me what you're thinking about when it comes to coincidence. You got some questions?
I do. I mean, you've studied consciousness and karma and Maharaja's teachings. Do you think that there's any room for coincidence, or do you think that it is all fate?
I think that we either have free will or we don't. And I do believe in free will. We do have our choice, right? But from the standpoint of Indian belief, Hindu belief, Buddhist belief, from what I've studied about near-death experiences and all of these types of things, it seems like we plan our lives and that we know what our lives are going to be before we enter into our lives. And there's a plan that says you're going to go through these major life events. How we handle those life events is our free will. And why we have to reincarnate is because we don't learn the lessons. So we don't learn those lessons. We come back again. We try to learn the same lesson again through a different scenario. So in one way, I don't believe in coincidence. And in another way, I will say, well, there is free will. So there is some coincidence that goes on. But I think that the free will happens in between these big events. And then we hit one and we go from there and say, okay, well, this was planned. It was planned for me to come into this event. Now I'm going to choose these things. But for example, if we start talking about buying a car, for example, you go buy a car. I have a Toyota Tacoma. As soon as I bought the Toyota Tacoma, I saw them everywhere. And before I bought it, I never saw them. I think that's a coincidence that they were there all along. And so I just didn't notice. And that's coincidental. But what happened to me on the plane, I think that was free will. And I attracted those experiences by continually thinking about those people and situations. Anthony Ferguson, we lost you for a minute. What do you think about coincidence? You got some questions today?
Yes, let me ask you, do you think meeting your mentor was pure luck or coincidence?
No, I was telling Darren, I think that was a prearranged meeting that happened before I was ever born. I think that was one of those things where Ram Dass talks about people who incarnate in soul pods, so that there's a group of people that are always incarnating together in different roles to work out all their karma together. For example, the 3 of us, we have a lot of history together. We've been through a lot of events together, met a lot of people together. So I would say that we're part of a soul pod that's incarnated together in other instances in time in order to work out our karmas.
Right. So let me ask you both. Have you ever had a dream about something that happened the next day exactly as you dreamed?
Absolutely for me, multiple times.
Yeah, I
What
can't give
was
any
that?
specific examples. I can't because it's just been so long. And I mean, I haven't dreamed in I don't even know how long. When I say I haven't dreamed in a very long time, I don't recall them very long after I wake up. And so they happen. And there's a lot of nights where I go to sleep and I wake up the next morning and I don't remember it. But it's been a very long time since it happened. But I know I've had that experience where it's almost like deja vu.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to say the same thing. I've dreamed things before that seem to be not very important in life, right? Seeing a person in a store or passing a particular corner in a car, something like that. And then when I have that experience, it's almost like a premonition. And then when I have that experience, it seems very much like deja vu. It seems like it just clicks. I remember, oh, I dreamed exactly this thing, but it never lasts for very long. And I've never had it over something that I thought was a pivotal moment in my life, right? So that there was a big thing that happened that was going to shift my whole life in a dream. And then it actually happened. It always seemed to be like smaller things.
Right. And what about the music playlist shuffle mode? You even realize that you just put it on shuffle mode and for some reason, that was the song you was waiting for?
Yes. That seems very strange.
Right. It's
Yeah.
happened to me.
That's happened a lot, right? You just hit that shuffle mode and you all of a sudden it's playing a song that happened to be in your mind.
Right.
And so you say, okay, well, is that complete coincidence or did I draw that? Did I attract that experience?
And for you, John, have you ever bought a mystery box and gotten exactly what you wanted? Oh shit, this was exactly what I wanted.
No, I don't think I've ever bought a mystery box because I always feel like a mystery box is them just taking advantage of you, right? I never thought of it like this. I have to say no. What about you, Darren?
Well, I can't say a mystery box, but I remember going through the drive-thru at McDonald's when I was a kid. You know, they'd have like a series of toys that'd come out and be like, please let me get the red Power Ranger. Please let me get the red Power Ranger. And I get it. And yeah. But so that's happened multiple times. But I mean, buying a mystery box, no. I mean, I haven't done anything of that. But that was one example I can think of.
So do you pay attention to the repeating numbers on a clock? Because for some reason, anytime I'm like a weirdo, I'm going to look on the time. It's 7:11, 10:11, 1:11 for me. What about for you or Darren?
No,
I got it. Well, there's a phenomenon that goes around about 11:11, right? And a lot of people saying that they're drawn to look at the clock at 11:11, but you have an internal clock that's perfect. Your internal clock is absolutely perfect. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I thought I've set an alarm because I had to get up at 3 a.m. and I wake up at 2:57. Right? So there's an internal clock that's perfect. And if you think I always look at the clock at 11:11, your internal clock can say to you, hey, look at the clock, it's 11:11. Which isn't a coincidence at all. It's again, you attracting it, drawing it into your life. Again, saying what I always say, you're living in the echo of your previous thoughts.
I was thinking more along the lines of 420 because, I mean, in the past, I mean, the number just kept coming around for some reason.
Right. Right.
So
I'll tell you this, that when my mentor died, right after he died, our area code in Louisiana is 337. And right after he died, I started to see 337 and 37 everywhere. And again, maybe I just associated it, right? Maybe I just associated Brooks with 337 or 37. But now that he's been gone, coming up on 20 years now, it's been a long time. I mean, he's been gone 17 years. And still, sometimes I'll find myself in a very difficult situation and all of a sudden the number 37 will appear. And it's hard for me not to think of him. Of course, I carry his medallion around my neck all the time. It's hard not for me to think of him in that way. But again, with all of this, I always have to go back and just say, you know, I think I've drawn this into my life. I think we're creating our reality. I don't really believe in coincidence, but I've told people often when they're trying to see God's activity in their life, they're trying to see the guru's activity in their life, I've said, look for what you think is coincidence. Because when everything else has failed, when everything else you've tried has failed, and all of a sudden your solution comes out of left field in a way that you couldn't have imagined, I think that that's God or the guru's activity in our life.
Well, I got a story that it was how I met John, because my first year of coming down to Costa Rica, I was only here for 9 months, and the idea was me to just take care of my parents' place because they bought a place thinking it was going to be an Airbnb, and really they just need someone to be there on the grounds, taking care of it, making sure that people get in and out and the place is taken care of. But those 9 months were brutal because where my parents' house is at, it's in the middle of nowhere. So there was not much activity from the hotel, people coming in, and so I wasn't getting paid because people weren't coming in, and I wasn't receiving very much money. So my funds dried up completely, and I flew back to the States for 3 months to work to try to get some more cash. And as I was back there, I thought, nope, I'm going to go back right now. I'm going to fly back to Costa Rica and keep taking care of my parents' place. And as soon as I flew back, that very first day, I met John there, and it didn't start immediately where we started working together, but after a few months, I think I at one point I was working, making $4 an hour or even less. And I told John, like, I got to go back. I got to go back home. I'm not making enough to survive here. I mean, you watched me. I was walking 5-6 miles to go to work. And that's when John said, all right, well, I can get you some work. And we started working together from there. So, I mean, was that coincidence or fate for me to just stay down here in Costa Rica?
Well, I guess as you look at it, you can say everything is a coincidence, right? You could be a person who completely believes in coincidence and just give it all to coincidence all the time. But if you're a person who believes in a higher power, if you're a person who believes in the power of thought, in the law of assumption, the law of attraction, then I think a lot of this you have to say, no. This is a plan. There's a plan going on here, because it wasn't just a coincidence of you meeting me. I also had to see something in you, right? I also was in that moment thinking, maybe I should, reactivate Proven Performer again and do some more deals, because I had been at that time working for a major corporation. I was an executive vice president, and I had just gone into the jungle not too long before that, and been somewhat, disillusioned about what I had been doing in the corporate world, and thinking, gosh, I really just need to get back up out on my own. And then here you were. So to me, that looks like a plan. It looks like a plan that I was desiring to get this going again. And then all of a sudden the right person appeared. And I said, okay, well, we can go forward with this. All right, we're at the 23-minute mark. Anybody got one more question to wrap it up?
Well, I kind of do, because I mean, if everything's pre-planned, do we really have fate? Do we really have, decisions? Can we really make a decision?
Free will.
And change that? Free will?
Back to free will again. Sam Harris is a famous atheist, and he wrote a book on free will where he basically says we don't have free will. And the reason we don't have free will is because we're so programmed from the time that we were a child. I mean, if I grew up in a very, very, very strict evangelical household, right? And because I grew up in that evangelical household, I became an evangelical. As a young child, they said, if you don't accept Jesus into your heart, you're going to hell. And that became a baseline for me of how I looked at the entire world. My worldview was shaped by that. And so in that way, did I have any free will? Or was I just acting out of program? Now, again, I'll say the people that research choosing their lives, they go into past life regression and they do hypnosis and they talk to people. Brian Weiss has written a lot of books, Many Lives, Many Masters, about this. And there's a lot of books written about we choose our lives, we choose the situation in our lives, but we also get to choose what happens in those situations. So we choose a lifetime, like I chose this lifetime, and I knew ahead of time I would receive this super strict indoctrination into being an evangelical. But now, as I look back on that, I love the fact that I have so much Bible knowledge and I'm able to, the scripture is so alive for me, right? And it's not it's not scripture that's connected to a religion, but just wisdom in general. So I'm happy that happened, even though I look back and say, well, that really wasn't free will on my part.
Right.
Yeah. Anthony, you got one more question for us before we go, since you've been floating in and out?
So, have you ever found a lost object in a completely impossible place? You say, oh, what the hell this is doing here?
Well, yes, but you said that. I want to tell you a different story. My mother collected Avon bottles, and Avon is a perfume company. They used to make all these different bottles in these different shapes, and she would buy them at garage sales. And sometimes she'd buy them full, brand new at garage sales. They were very popular back then, and they were just kind of everywhere. And so she had this collection, and there was this particular Avon bottle that looked like an old paddle wheel ship. And she loved that because it was a Louisiana thing, right? All the paddle wheel boats on the Mississippi River. And so there was one that looked like a paddle wheel, but there was two smokestacks that went on top. It was a plastic piece that fit on top. And she had found this bottle 3 or 4 times at garage sales and bought it, but it was always missing that plastic piece. And at the time I was a child, I'm going to say I was 9 or 10 years old. And she told me one day, she said, she was talking about the fact that she didn't have that plastic piece. And she said, I believe God's going to send it to me. I have faith God's going to send me that plastic piece. And I made fun of her. Oh, Mama, that's not going to happen. No. And so, sure enough, I don't know how much time passed, but there was a brand new playground at a place called Frash Park. And where the playground was, there was sand underneath. And I begged her, please, Mama, take me to the new playground, take me to the new playground, take me to the playground. We were walking together out to the playground, going towards the playground in the sand. And I heard her go, like that. And I turned around and I saw her bend over into the sand and pick up that little black smokestack piece out of the sand in that park. So, to be honest about it, I thought she lied to me. And so even as she got older, because she wouldn't lie, and she got older, I said, did you lie about that just to make me believe in faith? I said, did you lie? And she denied it all the way till the time that she died. She said, no, I found that there. That appeared because of my faith in God. So does that answer your question?
Right, definitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Made in Paradise podcast. We do this every week, Monday through Friday. This is episode number 55. We're, if anything, consistent. Made in Paradise is sponsored by a company called Proven Performer, which happens to be the 3 guys on the screen, and we sell big closeout deals. Right now, we're going to tell you about some of them. Darren's going to put some contact information down at the bottom. And if you're interested in any of these deals, please reach out to us from your favorite messaging app, WhatsApp, Telegram, iMessage. Send a carrier pigeon if you want to. We're ready to communicate. Email, whatever it is, we'll send you all the details about these deals. Today, I want to talk again about Emos Winery that's gone out of business. We have approximately 300,000 bottles of wine at 50 cents a bottle. This was made for the Asian market. It's beautiful stuff. It's absolutely perfect, been kept in climate-controlled environment. It's at 50 cents a bottle, and some of this retailed in Asia up to $240 a bottle. This is a crazy, crazy good deal. We have got to sell it, or they're going to destroy it because they're out of business and they're paying rent. And they don't want to pay rent anymore. If you're interested in this, we have a complete manifest. You can see pictures here on this flyer down at the bottom of it, all brand new, stacked in the warehouse. Please reach out. Be happy to send you the manifest on this deal. We're running out of time. 50 cents a bottle on the Emos Winery. Most of it is red, as a matter of fact. Most of it is red wine. I want to talk about the Brewista kettles. These are electric kettles, all in color boxes, 5,075 pieces. This is fully manifested, being sold at 15 cents on the dollar. You're not going to find this deal either. There's no appliance in our home that gets used more than an electric kettle. It's like always getting used. And we have some here that retail up to $149 from Brewista. Again, all retail box. Reach out and talk to us about the manifest on these. This is a deal that we've been circling around here for now a couple of weeks, and we've had people want to buy it and they don't come with the money. It is 506 snowblowers from Yard Force. They're an insurance claim where the water sprinklers damaged only the boxes. These have never been in a consumer's hand, only in Yard Force's possession, moved from there to a 3PL. The whole deal, 506 units, takes 5 trailers to move it, now down to $63,000, works out to $125 a unit. You said, John, nobody wants snowblowers in July, but do you want a great investment? These are $13.99 retail, $8.99 at Walmart. You can buy them for $125 a piece. As you can see from the photos, some of the boxes are missing, but I did Sears Craftsman for years and years. And when it came to outdoor power equipment, I've been through hundreds and hundreds of truckloads. This is an incredible deal on some brand new equipment with damaged boxes. 506 units, $63,000, only a take all. You got to take every last piece, can be inspected. Yard Force, $1,399 retail snowblowers. Reach out if you want some more information on this. We have these PFR New York hoodies, about 45,000 pieces. There's about 15,000 pieces per trailer. 3 trailers of these in Houston, Texas. They are $3.25 each. They're 50-50. They're 100% polyester. You can see the size breakdown right there in the middle of the flyer. Any of the information you see here on the podcast, you want more information, reach out to us. We have manifests. We got pictures. We can make proof of life videos with your name in it, whatever you happen to need. Infamil, this is the last 3 pallets of this we have. It has a lot code on the bottom. This is a real deal, 1,728 units at $8.50 a can. This is $40 a can in the store. Doesn't expire until 2027. If you're in the baby business on this Infamil, again, we have all the pictures. It's got a lot code stamped on it. Really a great deal on this Infamil formula. From Adidas, we have these women's tennis shoes. There's 482 pair. Again, X-Works in Houston. You got to take them all. $80 retail. Are completely brand new. Your cost $25 a pair. Take them all. Let us know if you can use those Adidas. And finally today, these Pelco cameras. We've got 12,594 of these Pelco cameras. Retail here, $2.4 million almost. Really wild. $179, $229, $149 a camera. Pelco, I've sold Pelco literally my whole career. Some of the best cameras ever. We had them in our offices many, many, many times. Exceptional equipment, brand new in the boxes. These are $20 a piece on the take-all. It's a big deal, $250,000, but there's a lot of profit here on the table. If you're in the security camera business, again, reach out to us if the Pelco cameras are something for you, and we would love to talk to you about them. Again, been the Made in Paradise podcast. We do it every week, Monday through Friday. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow.